Okay, guys, we're here in the Fasttunes tuning class. Got some of our guys here. Y'all say hey. They all come from really good shops, and we're going through the processes of how we sample pipes. And just thought that we would show you guys the sampling kits. So we have our own Fasttunes sampling kits. They'll come in these boxes, and this is what is in the package. You get your Fasttune sticker. So you'll get your hose, you'll get your adapter for the O2 sensor, and you'll get the hardware to put it in. You get a washer, bolt for it. We're gonna get the block off bolt, and then we're gonna get the rib nut. The O2 sensors that we use, these are stainless, so they will never strip out, no matter how rough you guys are with them. They just won't. They're not aluminum bodies or anything. They're not gonna strip out. And they're really nice, and I guess you'd just say small. They don't take up a lot of space. So if I've got heat shields and I want to just unclamp the heat shield and move it up a little bit, I've got room to put this one on under that, and then the heat shield can just stay on top of it. Also, the heat shields will not eat holes into this because this is stainless. That's why we like those. It's also got the jet in the end of it to help keep the pulse waves back, to not suck fresh air back on top of the O2 sensor. It's just all built nice and works very good. Robert Swartz makes these for us, and we stock, probably got about 100 sets in stock. And they're on our website and ready to ship out if you guys want to try them. So we're going to go through for the class and show how to install these. So now that we see what's in the kit, first thing we're going to do is we just got us a dummy pipe here. Dummy pipes coming out of the head. You want these things to be about 4 to 6 inches off of the port. Is where we want them. So we're going to assume right here is 4 to 6 inches off the port, just because it's easy for me to install it and show it on the video. But we would want to pick 4 to 6 inches off the port. So when you pull the guy's heat shield off of it, and if you'll look right here, can you get right here, Ava? When you pull his heat shield off, he's usually got marks of where the heat shield clamp was. So don't drill and put them in on top of where the heat shield clamp goes. It just ain't a good idea. So go before or after. Also, look at the pipe and try to decide if you think it's a good location. So we know that the air is coming out of the head and going into this pipe. So anywhere down through here has probably got a really nice area of collecting good data. If you go on the bottom side of this, there is chances that you might find a dead area or an area that just don't flow as good, and it can actually have a vacuum there when you put this adapter into it. So if we drill a hole on the bottom and then we open it up, maybe that area there has so much air rushing across the top of this bin, see what I'm getting at, guys, that it will suck fresh air easier up through there, almost like a Venturi effect to it. And we're not looking for that kind of stuff. So we want to stay on the top of these flow areas. So over here would probably be a good area that we could start from. We wanted to be a little closer. So this is a 2564 drill bit. We like the ones that are tapered. We buy ours from Matco. They do really well, and we're just going to drill that in. The tapered helps it to be a perfectly round hole without you having to use 2 or 3 bits to get there, because these are round. The older Screaming Eagle ones, they're a square, and that's why we like these. So we're just going to pick our spot. So they do a pretty good job, and they don't even have to be filed or anything. If you can put good pressure on it, it's a good bit. So we have our hole, we've decided where we want it, and we've decided that that's a good location for a great sample. You need to keep those things in mind. So a couple things you guys can do. We buy the hydraulic one because it makes it easy, but you can take a screw, and you could take a screw with 2 washers and a nut, and you could stick this in here and then start screwing the nut out and collapse this into the pipe. So a lot of DIY guys, they'll do it that way. If you're a shop owner and gonna be doing a lot of these, you wanna buy this here. The hydraulic systems work great. Screw the rib nut on it. We will put it in the pipe. We'll hold a little pressure, and then it's that simple. It just squeezes it right in. But you can do it with a screw and 2 nuts. You'll just hold a little pressure, click the bottom, takes the pressure off. Nice, quick, and this don't get in the way of a lot of stuff on the bike if you're in tight areas. They make a lot of the manual ones that are really big, yeah, and those are kind of hard to work around in some cases on the bike. So find these work really great. We will have these for sale on our website too at some point, but we don't yet. So we got our rib nut in there. We're going to need to put our O2 sensor adapter on it. We got our washer, helps seal it off. Drop it through, wiggle it around, we see it out. We're just going to take it, and this bolt is hollow here, guys. That hollow bolt is where it gets its sample, goes up through the hollow bolt, and when we put our O2 sensor in there, that's where it reads it. This is our bleed off, so that when air is coming through here, it can get out, be going across the O2 sensor. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in a second too. So we just want to pick the spot. This thing is ground so that it matches the curve of the exhaust. You just want to get it snugged up and then take your fingers, and that's all it takes. See where it quit moving? Once it quit moving, then you can just tighten it up. You don't need extra wrenches on it or anything. The curve of this will hold it perfectly with that pipe, and you're done. Robert does a really good job on picking the bolts that he uses. We use a lot of times like the quick little impacts to put these in just to speed stuff up, but it's better if you just use your hand tools. So we've got it in there, and the next thing we need to do is we need to put our O2 sensor in. Let me go grab it. Okay guys, I just went and grabbed one of the O2 sensors we use. This one's actually for a direct link kit. We like direct link, works great, use a lot of different products, but we're gonna screw it in. Doesn't take a lot here, guys, when you're tightening up your O2 sensor. You just don't want it to come loose. It's got a crush washer on it, and if you're like us, tuning multiple bikes a day, every time you over tighten it, you're crushing that washer, and it just makes it worse and worse. So I just keep my hand on here, and the funny thing is I'll keep one of my fingers kind of on the pipe and on this. That way I can feel if this moves at all. But you just want to hold it, and that's it. Just snug it up. It doesn't come loose. They start coming loose when you start crushing that washer by over tightening them each time. So now we've got it on, and we've got the O2 sensor in, and now we will go to our hose. Now I'm going to talk to you guys a couple different things with the hoses. This comes with the bleed hose. It's got a jet in this. The jet helps keep the air from being sucked back in and get back to the O2 sensor so quick. So this hose is not designed to hook to the pump on the dyno. It's just a hose so that when that air, when your exhaust air comes out and goes into the hose, it needs to be long enough that fresh air can't get sucked back in and back to the O2 sensor. So this air in this hose will be pulsing, and you can watch it pulse. So this is going to sweat, and you'll see the little water bubbles and the sweat in this, and you'll be able to watch it pulse and see how far it goes down. What I've noticed is if you're watching that pulse of that water that's in here where it's kind of started sweating, if it can make it all the way out to the end, the hose is probably a little bit short. I also like to plug these off. That is one of those things that is up to you. You see if you like it or if you don't. For me, that is what works the best. So my hoses are a little bit longer and they're plugged off at the end. This works great, but those are just some things that you can think about when you're trying to get a good sample. It doesn't matter how we're tuning the bike. If our sample is bad, our tune is going to be bad. So we're trying to get the best sample possible, and that's just some of the things that we have found over time that work. So I like to watch my little sweat bubbles and see if they can make it all the way out. If they make it out, I will probably go get a longer hose, and then I like to plug the hose off on the end. You may not like to plug the hose off on the end. A lot of the guys here have been using this method, and they've got some different ideals that have worked great for them. So it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. I'm just giving you some ideas on what we use. So once you're done with it, we will unhook everything. So we've tuned the bike. Bike ran good. We're going back now. we're going to pull the O2 sensor back out. Comes out nice and easy. And again, guys, we used to use a lot of different ones, and we would strip them out. These will never strip out. This will be the last set that you ever have to buy. So we're going to pull it out now. Now you've got a hole in the guy's pipe. So we will take the little block off screw and we will plug that off and tighten it up good. Now, a lot of these kits are sold with a washer on this. I don't like to use the washer even if they come in the kit, so we don't even add it in our kit. So this is a softer material, more of a brass, and this is a stainless bolt. It will seal itself off great there. What we've noticed with the washer is if you tighten the washer up, guys are trying to over tighten them and stuff, that washer is so thin that it actually just kind of gets pushed out, and then the bolt could come loose or not seal as good. We just found it better not to use the washer at all. So that's what we do. We just put this right in there, and it's even got a cleaner look to it. Now remember, guys, the heat shield is going over this, so it's going to cover this up. The customer never sees it. Now, when we look at this, how big this is, and we think we don't want that big rib nut in the exhaust, well, you got to think that once you get it in the exhaust and you squeeze it down, it's not that big. That's all that's in the exhaust now, sticking through it. So then we start thinking about, well, could that hinder the flow of the exhaust? I've tried it both ways, a million ways, and never have I seen that be an issue or a problem. So no, I am not worried about that. What I am worried about is getting a good tune. This right here helps me to get a great tune, and I can pick up a lot more horsepower from a great tune than I can this little thing sticking in my exhaust. So if you've got a stainless exhaust that doesn't have heat shields, make sure you ask your customer what you want to do. He may not want that in his exhaust, and then you need to think of other methods. But if he doesn't have a wideband O2 sensor, this is the only other method that will get you the best reading. If you try to put the sample tubes back up in it, think about it that way. If you've got a long sample tube, run up the back of the exhaust and then a hose hooked to it and then over to your AFR sniffer, you're way behind in your chart. So if you're trying to tune 2500 at 100%, you may actually be tuning 2000 RPM instead of 2500 because of the lag time. When you put this in and you're 4 to 6 inches off the pipe, you really don't have any lag time, and then you're going to have a really great tune. So those tables in a map, let's say that we're running down the map at 100% and we're going 25, 27, 3000. Those are all blended. So when we're blending out of 25 into 27, that table is blended. So it's not like you're 25 and then bam, you're 27 and then bam, you're 3000. All those are blended. And if you're behind in that RPM reading, let's take it some pipes with a lot of reversion in a certain area with a big cam, you're right in front of where it needs that fuel, a lot of extra fuel, where we may go from 90 to 120 on fuel in that blend, and you may be off just enough that you're getting a bad reading there. So pull that long sniffer out, go to this style, and you will see that clean right up because now we don't have the lag time and we're able to tune that specific area at a real sample rate time. Hope that makes sense, guys. Anything to add to it? Any questions? Okay, so guys, think about it. We have these on our website for sale. Rob Swartz makes them. Awesome guy, does a great job on his product, and we're the distributor for his product, and would love for you guys to buy them. Go to fasttunes.com.